Peace. I was having a conversation with my cousin the other day, and we were speaking about voting. He only voted once in his life. I never voted at all in my life. And I'm gonna share with you a few of the reasons why I don't vote. And you can tell me if it makes sense or not. Please, I always like to hear feedback. The number one reason I don't vote, because I don't consider myself a citizen. I'm not a United States citizen. I'm not a citizen of the state. I'm not a corporate citizen of the municipality. None of those entities were created for my people on our behalf or have our best interests at heart. I got a right to choose my nationality, and my nationality is more. So when I'm looking at this situation right now, getting into deeper, the holistic reason why I don't vote. Let's look at this thing holistically. Let's look at everything that goes into a vote, and let's look at everything that's going on in this country that's been going on. If we were to take the mainstream version of events concerning history as fact, well, they said in 1492 Columbus came and discovered America, and sometime in the 1600s they started bringing over Africans, our ancestors, on boats to come work in these fields and get no money and make other people super wealthy on these plantations, which is not the real word. It's really called estates. Estate is a form of Roman slavery, but that's another subject. Our ancestors weren't allowed to read. Our ancestors weren't allowed to do anything except work and get drunk on the holidays. That happened for hundreds of years without getting into origins and getting into the deeper stories and the hidden meanings and words, labels, phrases, and things of that nature. I'm just gonna get into, the mainstream version of events, show how historically your vote, our vote as a people, has never mattered in this country. Starting with 1492, allegedly Columbus came over here, discovered, and all these different European nations came over here, started claiming territory left and right. They went to wars, whatever, Apparently now they took country from people that were already here. Then once they learned how to survive here and learned how to thrive here and claimed all the resources through doctrines of discovery and letters patent and divvied up the land, right, which I don't recall nobody voting on. Then they went to Africa, brought all our ancestors on boats, made them work the fields, received little to no pay, while their ancestors got rich and wealthy for generations. I don't think our people voted on that. Our people weren't allowed to read and go to school. I don't think we voted on that. Then fast forward a couple hundred years, all of a sudden, Abraham Lincoln freed our ancestors. They went to work and they were able to do things that they normally weren't allowed to do. They ran for office, and then boom, the voting laws got changed, which I don't think our people voted for, but the laws got changed, and all of a sudden it was all these different qualifications to be a voter. Okay, cool. Now a lot of those brothers that were in offices, they were out of the office. Now here comes Jim Crow segregation. I don't think we voted on that. Then let's get deeper into it. We didn't vote on changing the monetary system. We didn't vote on going into world wars. We didn't vote on the income tax. Now in the 1960s, all of a sudden we're allowed to vote. All of a sudden, now we're voting, but guess what? We gotta pay the income tax. We gotta pay the sales tax. We gotta pay the property tax. We gotta get licenses. We don't get gold and silver coin no more. We get promissory notes. We didn't vote on any of these things. Last I recall, the property taxes is going up. The sales taxes are going up. I don't see no taxes coming down. They want to talk about inflation. I'm looking at the taxes. I'm looking at the percentages that they taking out of every check. I'm looking at the percentages they getting off of every sale. They eating off the front and the back. Before you get your money, they take it. After you get your money, they take some more. So you explain to me, what are we voting for if every time we get a dollar, they taking a larger percentage of it? It doesn't make sense to me, mathematically speaking, looking at it through the story that they told me in school. That's another thing. This school curriculum, they need to teach the proper origins. You know, they're not going to tell us about our Moorish ancestry. They're not going to tell us about the illustrious history of our ancestors prior to slavery. They're not going to teach how our people were building universities and building cities and had kingdoms, had an empire spanning the globe. Even in this country, they don't teach us about the mound builders. They say that's a prehistoric people. Just look them up, the mound builders. They know nothing about them, but it's pyramids all over the country, from PA down to the Mississippi. Pyramids, but they calling them mounds. You go to the Penn Museum, go to the Egyptian section, and it's a small little corner of a little hall where they show you thousands of mounds that were built and on this little piece of the US alone. But we didn't vote on what we learned. We didn't vote on how we're going to interact in this society. Everything that we have that we're voting for was what they decided to give us, what the majority decided to let us have as minorities. So you do the math on that. What are you voting for? You only can choose the Republican or the Democrat. 9 times out of 10, ain't neither one of them your friend. So what are we doing? We out here voting for strangers. Nobody's lowering taxes. Nobody's working on teaching the children things that they can actually use, you know, before going to college to help their families out. They're retarding our intellects. They're retarding our growth as a people. They're keeping us stagnant. They're moving based off the law of necessity. Your vote is just to make you feel like you're included. But that's my take on it. You let me know if I said something wrong. Other than that, be enlightened. Peace.